Someday when Robert Duvall looks back over his career, he may point to 1983 as the year everything just sort of came together. Our man in Hollywood, Jim Brown, this morning begins a two-part report on a man at the top of his craft.
Okay, hogs. I've listened to you bellyache about moving to this new town. This said bellyaching will end as of 15:30 hours. Will not affect the morale of the squadron henceforth. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir.
What you have to understand, Sonny, is that while Sollozzo is being guarded like this, he is invulnerable. Now, nobody has ever gunned down a New York police captain, never. It would be disastrous. All the 5 families would come after you, Sonny. The Corleone family would be outcast. Even the old man's political protection would run for cover.
He's being called America's Olivier, an actor of almost awesome versatility.
You may be money off in disguise. Prove you, Watson.
How on earth am I to do that?
Tell me where I keep my tobacco.
Tobacco? But as a rule, it's in the toe of your Persian slipper.
If you still need help the next couple of days, I'd like to work on.
1983 is turning out to be Robert Duvall's year. He produced and directed his own film, Angelo My Love. His contribution to American acting is being honored this month at the Toronto Film Festival, and his starring role in Tender Mercies is a front-runner for a Best Actor Oscar.
My mom and daddy are dead, too. But I have a brother out in California someplace. We lost track of each other. I have a daughter.
You do?
She's 7 or 8 years older than your boy.
Where is she?
With her mama. Me and her mama are divorced. We get along too well, and I reckon my...
But you all stop talking, I can't get to sleep.
To me, most films that represent certain portions of the interior of the United States patronize those people. And they're always punching things, you know. They're putting quotes behind it. Like, I didn't like The Grapes of Wrath because everybody's talking like this and they're making people out, you know, they're patronizing them. So certain people are laid back within certain situations. And this is kind of a laid back situation. And if you punched it too much, then it wouldn't be real, I don't think. And I think it's certainly some of the best work I've done, and I would challenge anybody to say differently. I mean, I'm not trying to be egotistical, but I feel that's some of the best work I've done. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's a lot of people's cup of tea because it's very basic.
Well, it's gotten wonderful reviews.
Yeah, there have been a few negative ones, but I always say, like I think the Washington Post or this one said they didn't like it, but when you get like a personal letter from Dustin Hoffman and Gene Hackman, and they say this is wonderful work. Now, if it were the roles were reversed, and certain critics loved it and they didn't, then I'd be in trouble.
Tender Mercies reunited Duvall with writer Horton Foote. They first worked together in 1963 with the award-winning To Kill a Mockingbird. That movie began Duvall's film career.
I've known Horton a long time, and he's a very wonderful writer, and I feel very much at home in his material because he kind of beads in on a certain section of the United States very accurately, but very personally. But it's also at the same time that it certainly has a very universal appeal. The content of his writing. It's very specific. I always call it like hillbilly Chekhov or rural Chekhov. You know, it's very deep and very simple.
Duvall's nursed many newcomer directors, including Francis Coppola, and another one-time novice, George Lucas. Duvall and Lucas worked together on THX 1138 back in 1972.
When I worked with George in THX, he was 25, and I, of course, was older, and it was like he'd been doing it 30 years in the right way. He was wonderful. And then Coppola, well, he's his own breed, really. He's very talented.
A little more tendency to kind of go with the moment, though, I would think.
Oh, very impulsive. Oh, yeah. Like in Apocalypse, I threw the thing up in the air at the end of the megaphone. It's not in there now, and he comes running over. You never did that in dress rehearsal. That's terrific. What made you do that? I said, I just imitated you throwing a tantrum. He cursed at me and walked away. We laugh about it now.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning. You know, one time we had a hail bomb for 12 hours. When it was all over, I walked up. We didn't find one of them, not one stinking dink body. The smell. You know that gasoline smell? The whole hill. Smells like victory.
Tomorrow, Robert Duvall talks about what he's done for money and what he'll do to win an Oscar. For today, Jim Brown, NBC News, Hollywood.
It's 10 minutes of 8 now. Robert Duvall is our subject. For 20 years in the movie business, well, those 20 years have left him with definite ideas about what he likes and what he doesn't like to do. He shared some of those ideas with our man in Hollywood, Jim Brown.
Don't you think it's a little risky for R&R? If I say it's safe to surf this beach, Captain, it's safe to surf this beach. I mean, I'm not afraid to surf this place. I'll surf this beach, Kevin.
Robert Duvall has created a gallery of outstanding roles.
My favorite daughter, Ben, I swear to God, you're my sweetest little girl.
I used to work for you. Oh, yeah? When was that?
When you were running whores, I was your bagman in Wilshire Vice. I did the payoffs for Brenda. I'm sure you remember Brenda. Of course, that was before you started doing fundraisers for St. Veronica's.
You want it to be true.
No, I don't.
An actor's actor, Duvall has often taken on roles simply because of the company he'll keep, no matter how small the part.
Please count your money outside.
The actors with him in the conversation are Gene Hackman and Harrison Ford.
Gene Hackman was wonderful in this film. He's a wonderful actor. I had a small part, but it was a nice part. And I remember I was traveling across the country, and he called me from a car that he'd won through a bet with somebody at Paramount that if the Godfather grossed more than $50 million, he could get any kind of car he wanted. It's a great, big, stretch-out Mercedes, you know, and he called me on his phone. I think I was in Las Vegas at the time, stopping over for some reason, and he called me and said, come do this cameo in the conversation.
Other film choices have been less fortunate.
How are things going with the bets?
Occasionally, Duvall's ignored his instincts and gone for the money, particularly after financing his own movie, released earlier this year, called Angelo My Love, about a 10-year-old gypsy.
This D.B. Cooper movie I did, that was definitely a follow-up. That was right after Angelo. I needed to work, and it probably wasn't that great a film, but I had to do it, and to help replenish the larder, really. You know, you shouldn't spend your own money, but I think I had to do it. I would never do it again unless I were a really, really, really wealthy man, which I'm not. If I had $25 or $30 million, then maybe I would go off and finance my own film again. But if I ever direct another film, I'm not going to put my own money into it.
I've decided to leave here forever. Thieves and dogs.
Duvall's had one of his best roles in years, playing a country singer down on his luck in Tender Mercies. The only criticism he's heard is that the film is a little too understated.
I played a laid-back guy. I mean, when Willie Nelson saw it, he said, you remind me an awful lot of Merle up there. And that was a tremendous compliment to me. I wasn't trying to do that. Now, whether the whole movie's laid back, I don't know, but all I can say for the movie, as far as that's concerned, that so many movies about, you know, once again, people from those areas, they punch, 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 punch. It's not a punched movie, and it shouldn't be.
One of the problems with a very marvelous role in a film that opens in February, March, was it?
Yes, yes.
Is that problem down the line when they start talking about Academy Awards, and that people forget about the film, and you have to kind of pump them up again.
Maybe. I mean, I'll let the studio do it. I'm not going to, I will refuse to take out ads and pay my, I don't understand what that's all about. If it happens, it happens. If I receive an award sometime in my life, that's fine. I'll accept it. If it really means that certain of my peers like my work. Without sounding to try to be pretentious or anything, sometimes I watch the Academy Awards, I really don't know what they're about. Because there's a lot of, I really don't know what they're about. If what they're really about is that, presenting an award from, you know, getting an award from certain peers, then that's one thing, but it's so much hoopla. It's become really something that is hard to identify. I think, what, 300 million people or more watch It's really an awesome spectacle, I guess.
One final question. What is next for you? Not your money, not directing, not right. Are you going to just do a project where somebody else bears the load for?
Well, I hope so. I like to play more heroes now, more good guys. When you're younger, you're attracted more to the bad guys, but I think the good guys are just equally as interesting, if played, you know, on the button, as the bad guys, really. And the older I get, the more I want to play some good guys rather than the villains, because there's some terrific people to play. I mean, Max Sledge is a lovely guy, I think, and that's one of my favorite parts I've ever played.
Let me know if you're coming along. Otherwise,
For today, Jim Brown, NBC News, Hollywood.
in the morning deep. Let me know if you're staying behind.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.